Hello everyone, welcome to the Totally Well Show. I'm your host, Joyce Strong. The Totally Well Show is a place where we get curious, ask questions, and explore everything to do with health, wellness, fitness, and all the things it takes to help you live the highest quality, most fulfilling life. I have two guests today. They're separate businesses out of Amherst, New Hampshire, not too far from us here in Groton, but they work together. They're partners in community. Carol Goudreau, who is Peaceful Journeys, and Michelle Folan, who is Simple Soul Yoga. And we'll talk a little bit later about how people can find you. But I'm really curious to dig right in to find out more about what you do in your practices and together and apart, and what makes you folks special in your craft. So you have in common yoga. So let's start there. Let's ask Carol a little bit about what do you do with yoga? What's your expertise in?
I'm trained in many different modalities or styles of yoga. For the studio, we are mainly Kripalu-based yoga, a compassionate yoga.
Kripalu-based and compassionate. Yeah. Tell me more what you mean by that.
So Kripalu-based yoga, we thrive to help people be in the moment with their bodies and have compassion for themselves. We don't want them in their ego mind. So they have to sometimes they want to go into their ego mind and they say, well, I'm not doing this right, or, they're thinking about so many other things. So we try to hone them into their breath and have them focus into their body so that they can feel really what's going on in the moment. And we express to them to have compassion for yourself. If you can't stretch this far, if you're not that flexible, if you just be compassionate about it, it will come in time.
It feels very welcoming.
It is. It's a wonderful style of yoga. It's, like I said, it's very slow moving, very compassionate, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
How did you get into yoga? What brought you? You've been doing this for a long time. What brought you to choosing this path?
23 years or so ago, I called two yoga teachers, one in Milford, New Hampshire, one in Salem, and the one in Milford, New Hampshire. Her voice just drew me in, and there was no turning back once I started. I just kept
What was
going.
it about her voice?
She's an angel. I don't know how to. She's an angel. She's my love. She's my mentor. She's my friend. Her name is Dr. Reverend Stephanie Rudd. And she was just sweet and kind, and she totally changed my life.
Wow.
In so many ways.
Yeah.
Not just yoga, but so many ways.
Yeah.
So. And that was when my son was about a year old. So.
Oh, wow. And now you do that for people.
Yeah, it took me about approximately 13 years to realize that I was going to teach yoga. But I really admired my teacher having a business, and I never thought I'd have a business either, but here I am doing that now. And I enjoy it. It's flexible. I enjoy the people. I enjoy the community, because in my opinion, there's just a loss of community these days in our country.
So bringing people together.
Yeah.
And how do you fit in? That's like, I haven't been to your studio yet.
She's Kripalu too.
Yeah. We have the same roots in our Kripalu tradition, and that's also what drew me into yoga, is that particular school of yoga, the Kripalu approach, because of the loving, welcoming energy. And also because it dances. Kripalu yoga is just a little more fluid, less rigid than, let's say, a sun salutation is a lot of people think of as yoga. The poses, and the poses are a part of Kripalu yoga. It's an important part, but it's not everything. It's more important to practice in your heart and in your mind, in your breath, in the way that you treat other people. And so the physical body is one aspect. And
So do you teach this in your classes when you teach people? Do you talk about these kinds of things? Like, how do you convey that message?
Yeah, we do talk about it. There's a lot of, there's stages to Kripalu Yoga. There's stage 1, 2, and 3, and there's aspects of those stages where people learn. So if a beginner, a complete beginner comes into Peaceful Journeys, I help them with understanding those stages. And the majority of my clients, students right now have been with me for years, since the get-go, since we opened. But the overall perspective of Peaceful Journeys is to welcome beginners and teach them how to have that mind-body-spirit connection, because that's what's really important.
A lot of it comes back to like self-love. So when you're loving the students coming in, just in the way that you approach them, the way that you teach, that it's not a competition or a hierarchy, everyone is welcome to participate, then they start to grow seeds of self-love inside themselves, and then it's catching, right, in a great way.
Yeah.
So I think that's the common thread for us, is that Kripalu energy and that compassion.
Yeah.
This is going to sound like a silly kind of question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So since you work with beginners, if I had an obstacle to come in, it might be, can I afford it, or what do I wear? Can you address like some of, like, how does someone really just get started, like make that first phone call and come in? Do they have to wear a certain type of, I think something tight?
Well, do you want me to answer that?
Yeah.
Sometimes,
Sure.
sometimes we'll
dress
show up in
forward.
jeans if our yoga pants weren't clean. So I think it's, you model that just relaxed appreciation for yourself.
So you don't have to wear anything special. You don't have to go out and buy yoga gear.
No, I think you wear what you're comfortable in. You want to be able to move, right? So if you have more flexible clothing, you're more comfortable.
So you could wear like sweatpants.
Yes.
Sweatpants, shorts,
Yoga pants.
A big baggy
spandex
shirt if I was
pants. Yeah.
uncomfortable having
Absolutely.
anything too tight.
Well, I work with a lot of yoga therapy clients, and they come in wearing whatever they were wearing that day. I work with young adults on the autism spectrum. I have men and women that aren't comfortable, like you said, wearing yoga clothes, and they come in their jeans, or they come in wearing what they would normally wear, and we work with that.
Yeah.
So often we'll be, if it's someone with limited mobility, maybe we'll be working in a chair. And so it
Yeah.
doesn't matter so much that they're wearing jeans. We're working on the breath, we're working on the mind. And we might incorporate some poses in the chair. And then as they're ready, maybe they're lying down, maybe they're doing other poses too. But you meet the person where they're at. And I think in terms of, if someone were to make the call and say, what should I wear? I would say, wear what you're comfortable in. I might give them an example. And maybe bring water, or you can bring your own mat, or you can borrow one of ours. So it's not
So
like
you
there's
make
really
it
really
easy
rigid.
and affordable to come in and see.
Well, and I offer comprehensive yoga therapy, which is private yoga,
Yeah.
and that's more costly because it's 101.
Yeah.
But we also offer group classes and some free community classes, so that whatever level you're at, you're not excluded from the process.
Yeah.
And for example, we just started a chair yoga class where people come in and they just pay for that one class, and it's a community. We do a circle of chairs, and we work on some poses together and some breath work and meditation.
So it's just come when you can and pay that day.
Right.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Right. And
With
then others
Peaceful
might have more
Journeys,
commitment.
We have passes that you can purchase, and
Yeah.
they're all affordable. There's 3 different passes that you can purchase, and 4 pass, 6 pass, 10 pass. So, and we, Peaceful Journeys, holds on to those passes. So every time you come, I check it off that you came. And then when it gets near the end of the pass, I send you an email saying you have 1 class pass left. So that way there, the students don't have to worry about carrying the pass with them or forgetting it at home, or they don't have to worry about a thing.
Yeah. Well, I love that you have multiple things that you're building community in Amherst and beyond, because Amherst is close to Nashua, where I have one of my offices. And even to here, it wouldn't be a lot of people from this town shop up in Taxby, New Hampshire. So but I love that you're pulling people together and kind of meeting them where they're at. And I'm hearing a lot too from both of you, from both Michelle and Carol, about working with different kinds of populations, and that's kind of got me interested. Carol, can you tell me a little bit more about your massage? Because I know that's another area of expertise you have, and you kind of blend those.
Yeah, right about 2013, well, 2011, I was trained in massage, and it was initially a tool to help people de-stress, but Thai became really intriguing because Thai is Thai yoga body work. So people are putting kind of yoga postures, but they're passive, and I do the work for them. So Thai is helpful in so many ways that if a client didn't feel comfortable getting their clothes off and going on a table and having oil put on their body, they could essentially just come fully clothed and get on yoga mats on the floor, and I do all the work for them. And it stretches and compresses their muscle, so they essentially feel more relaxed at the end. It was a good combination with yoga. And at the time and right now, I have a lot of clients that are over the age of 50. So they have had lots of problems, surgeries, chronic pain. So it became a wonderful added modality to add to the whole overall of Peaceful Journeys.
So you said, when we chatted before, we got together before, you said something, it struck me funny, but I can't remember exactly. It was, if you're looking for, it was what you don't do, like if you're looking for candles and, what did you say? What was it?
If you're looking for candles and a rub down, it's not going to happen. We both Michelle and I work therapeutically. So most of my massages are geared towards healing and helping you find ease through chronic pain, as opposed to just going and laying on a beach somewhere and getting the sweetest massage.
So is there actual touching, contact, pressure, movement?
There's touching, there's trigger point therapy, deep tissue, if the client is okay with that. There's definite touching in Thai body work. We use a lot of our feet, forearms.
Your own body parts,
yes,
to help you to have
to
leverage.
to work on them.
Yeah.
Do you want to show anything?
I mean, I could. I can stand up, right?
Yeah. Your head might get chopped off a little bit.
so
Probably
I'll
better
have
to
to go
stay.
in.
Yeah. That's good.
So if Michelle is relaxed, I don't know if they can see my head or not. I can easily stretch her arm up, and this is good because this works for her. I do the stretch for her, so she doesn't have to.
She's passive. Michelle's passive.
Yeah, Michelle is always passive during this. The client stays passive. I do all the work for them.
Yeah.
You see the other hand? Usually I have my leg behind her, and I just pull this up. And this is helpful because a lot of people don't get to do this. Sometimes they get stuck in their own day and they're more focused on doing their work. They don't take that time to focus on themselves, stretch out, especially people who work on computers.
So many, sure. Yeah.
So it's very helpful to use it as a maintenance tool in your life. It's preventative medicine, although it's not noted yet. But it's very helpful, and we do the stretching for them, we do the compression for them. And then if they prefer just to do deep tissue work, I just do that on a massage table. and they're able to get a regular full body massage.
So I imagine when a person first comes in that you spend a fair amount of time getting to know them, finding out what their needs are, and
When a
then
person comes into my
making some recommendations.
to get a massage,
Yeah.
there's 2-page medical registration that they have to fill out.
Yeah. So you get
Because
some
we work
information.
medically,
Yeah.
and then after that's taken care of, all massages are usually 75 to 90 minutes long.
And just to be clear, you're not licensed medical practitioners,
No,
but working in.
I am a licensed massage therapist.
We consider the medical history, I think
Yeah,
is what she was
yeah,
getting
yeah.
at.
I just wanted to be clear, but when not to confuse people, because I'm a registered nurse, but I really consider myself more of a healer in prevention, and I really love when people open their ideas or open their mind up to different ways to be healthy, and rather than go in a reactive to now I'm sick, what pills can I take, or what surgery can I have, or what hospital can I go to?
It is very important to note that any person that comes into Peaceful Journeys, we do not diagnose any symptoms. We do not diagnose anything. We do not suggest any form of drugs for pain or anything like that.
Right.
We can offer a suggestion, but that's all we can do because I'm not a doctor.
Right, and same here. We say go back to your primary care, and we always like to keep everybody in the loop.
Right. But I can also work with doctors.
Sure,
As
yeah.
a licensed massage therapist, I can talk with their doctor and back and forth and see what the doctor thinks is good or not good.
Yeah, and sometimes insurance covers.
Insurance does cover for some people in bigger companies, I guess. I do not bill insurance companies.
Sometimes people can get reimbursed.
Yes,
for
I
things
offer a
like that.
receipt, and they take
Yeah.
that receipt and get reimbursed.
I know that because I had that happen with me before, and I was able to get reimbursed a little bit for some things. Yeah.
It's helpful when that
Yeah,
happens.
yeah. Just shifting gears a little bit, because I have 5 children. They're all grown up now, and grandchildren, and I coach young kids in hockey. So I was really excited to hear that you do some yoga for kids. So tell me. Well, first of all, you have kids. How
I
old
do.
are they?
My daughter's almost 2. She'll be 2 next week, and my son is 5 and a half.
So, very nice. The hockey team I coach, my granddaughter's 5, so
It's
they
a
want to
fun
learn to
age.
play hockey. We need players. So tell me about the yoga for kids. What do you do with kids?
Well, before having children, I taught Creative Kids Yoga, which
Okay.
is based on the work of Rosemary Clough. She's a wonderful mentor and teacher
Of
mine.
who?
Rosemary Clough.
Okay.
Out of Hollis, New Hampshire.
Yeah.
And she's a wonderful mentor and teacher of mine. She got me inspired to continue my yoga training after working with children. And I still use a lot of the Creative Kids Yoga even when I work with adults, because it brings the laughter and the playfulness and that young energy into it, which is important, especially if people are going through a very hard time.
Yeah.
But I don't do as many group children's classes right now, but in the past I've done parent and toddler yoga. I still do that a little bit now.
Yeah.
And I still take families for yoga therapy. So they can sign up as, a mother
unit,
and son,
yeah.
as a unit, or with friends, and customize what they're looking for. And it can be really powerful to have parents with the children, because then when they go home, it's not that they're taking something they learned with a yoga teacher and trying to apply it to their life when their parents don't know the language or the the meaning behind it, because they're in it together. So it's more powerful to work as a family. Carol's also done some work with families, so she knows. We've done circus yoga. We've been trained in a lot of different things.
Circus yoga. What is that?
Circus yoga.
Circus yoga is a lot of play, partner work. It's a lot of
Flying
circus
people on your feet.
acrobatic kind of stuff. Acrobat.
I may have told you I made an internet friend, Daryl Edwards, who founded Primal Play, and so we had a Skype call together. It was really fun, and I was hearing about what he does. And in my hockey, I had already started to do this. I have a drill where we have to open your knees up and heels are facing, and it's we call it open hips, but I call it the quack quack drill. So we're ducks and the kids quack and they go around the cones like this. So I kind of, once I met Daryl, I started to think, what other animals? So I've been posting them recently, and I yesterday posted an elephant. The kids take their sticks and they have to go "Woo!" like this, and they make them up oftentimes. So they'll have, we have a puffin. So I didn't know puffins did this, but they flap their wings and then they dive in the water, at least on the ice, and snakes and all kinds, cheetahs, all kinds of animals. And it just takes the kids to another place, you know, to be able to do that. And so my next thought was, how can I do this with adults, especially like adult women? I find when I coach hockey are challenging to get them to let loose, you know, that feeling. So I really, really appreciate what you do there.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll bring, in my adult classes, either one-on-one or with a group, sometimes I'll bring Beanie Babies and put them on their bellies as they're lying down and just feel them going up and down as they breathe. And it just brings some lightness to the breath. It brings just, people can't help but smile when they're holding a little elephant or a giraffe and putting it on their belly and it's moving up and down. And again, it kind of brings you back even to your spiritual self, to that lightness, that bliss body. In yoga, it's a kosha, the bliss body that's always there for you, but sometimes we forget it. We get a little stuck in our thoughts or in the pain in our bodies. So I think whenever you can bring some lightness to the situation, it's really helpful. I work with Good Grief, which is a group out of Merrimack, the hospice center there, and they are grieving teenagers, so they've lost a loved one. And they love being playful. When I come and do yoga with them, we'll often be animals, or we'll do something silly and, you know, like a breath of joy, something that just brings that love and joy back out when there's a heavy situation that they're managing. And it's not to disregard it or to minimize what they're experiencing, but to bring them back into that bliss body, that spirit that is always there for them.
Yeah, and it is part of life, and so it's it doesn't sound disconnected or covered up. It sounds sort of
embracing the wholeness.
Yeah.
I also teach a parent-child yoga class on Mondays, and I do this like in intervals throughout the year, and it's for 7-year-olds to 90-year-olds. So it could be the grandmother and the grandchild, or it could be the father and the daughter, or the mother and the son. It could be whoever it wants to be.
Are these like people that come regularly, or can you drop in?
You can drop into the parent-child yoga class, but it's actually so inexpensive. It's like 8 weeks for $90 for the both together. So that's pretty inexpensive. And it's only in 8-week sessions.
Got it. Is it cumulative when you teach that way, or can somebody drop in and still benefit?
Somebody can drop in and still benefit. It's always nice to go to a few classes, though, so you get the benefit of different things happening, like the circus yoga and the partner work. And it's nice because we get adults, similar to what she was saying, back to their child-like self, because we have a tendency to lose that as we get older and get into the real world.
And I find when you're around kids, it can help ease, because you can, pretend with kids, and they're so
in the parent-child yoga class, that Peaceful Journey is very laid back. We do have a lot of fun. We do yoga, we do breathing, we do meditation, but we also have fun with circus yoga, flying. Kids love bunk beds.
I love the circus yoga. We got to try to do some of that. We were vampires the other day at hockey, and the bat, when you turn into a bat, you spin. I don't know if you know that. So that was helping the kids do spins so we had to turn into bats, but it's fun, Couple things I want to cover, because we're getting already almost to the end of the show today. You both work with folks on the spectrum, or you do, okay. And so that's really exciting to hear, because it's another way for people to come for healing and acceptance and community. And occasionally, although it's not what you do all the time, you will go out to somebody who is in need, who is recovering, and do some intervention or yoga with a person in the home. So that was something I just didn't know was available.
I do want to make a point that I do work with younger people and anxiety with art and yoga, but I don't work with autistic children. She
Okay.
does. That's her
Okay.
job.
Yeah.
So
So good to know. Just that there's more. There's plenty of material for another show. But just because we only have 30 minutes today, I want to save this last little bit of time to ask each of you, what top 3 things does it take? I'm going to start with Carol. What top 3 things does it take for you to be totally well?
personally,
Yes. Real personal.
in the Kundalini yoga style, which is slightly different, which I am trained in, there's a practice called sadhana. A sadhana is a daily practice that you do for 40 days. So every morning I get up and I have a sadhana practice that I do, and it could be anything from a reading to a meditation to a mantra meditation, whatever that is for me that I need at the time. And I continuously do that. There are days where I miss, and that's the biggest problem, because then I'm off-center. But meditation is the biggest thing. I have to have that in the morning when I get up, and just doing yoga in my daily life is important. It keeps me going, like I said. It's similar to meditation. How else do I do? Being in the woods.
yeah.
I live in Temple.
Yeah. So forest bathing?
I don't
the new
know about
term, right?
bathing, but yeah, something similar to that.
I've heard that, and
I would say forest dreaming.
forest streaming. Love it. And Michelle, what top 3 things does it take for you to be totally well?
I would echo being in nature
Yeah.
as a top resource for me. Just looking at a flower or going outside to watch the sunset is just a total reset for me.
Uh-huh.
And that always has been true. In terms of the yoga, the breath work is what I often come back to, just tuning into my own breath
Yeah.
throughout the day, but also using particular techniques that help to ground me. Sometimes if I'm sitting, on an airplane or in traffic or somewhere where I can't really control the environment and I feel kind of tense inside, then I'll do something like the alternate nostril breath or counting in and out. Sometimes people might think I'm picking my nose in the car, but I don't care. We're just sitting there. We're not going anywhere.
No, I know.
Maybe it makes them laugh. So I just feel like the breath just brings me right back. And I just say 3 things. Food, just nourishing myself with real foods is so helpful and has improved my health a lot over the years as I've learned to cook better for myself and my family, and also to take things out that really don't serve me. Things like caffeine or alcohol, they're just not a part of what I put in anymore, and it feels great because I have energy to do what I want to do in life, and again, it's that connection to nature. I'm eating real foods, growing real foods in my garden, and my kids and I are chopping them up and putting them in our meals, so that feels really good, that connection.
Yeah, and you brought me a butternut
A butternut,
squash.
yep.
So nice of you. So how do people find you? Are you on social media? Do you have websites?
Right now, it's mostly word of mouth. A lot of my students tell other people, and it just kind of spreads that way. I do have a presence on Facebook, and I have a website, Simple Soul Yoga.
Okay, simplesoulyoga.com.
Yes.
Or your social media? Are you like Twitter or Instagram?
I don't do a lot of that. I'd
No.
rather spend time with my kids, to be honest.
Yeah, got it.
So when I need
but they
more
can
students,
find you at least to connect with you through Simple Soul Yoga.
Yeah.
And Carol, what about you?
Peaceful Journeys has a Facebook page. We're on alignable.com. Word of mouth. I network for the business, so I go.
Do you have a
around
website too?
Yeah, it's peacefuljourneysnh.com.
Peaceful Journeys with an S, nh.com. Okay.
Yes.
So they can find you, and you must link to each other at some point since you're
Yeah, we do.
operating.
we share a studio space together.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So,
we have a lot of cross-referencing that happens.
well, I'm so happy that I got to meet you, and today was my first time meeting Michelle, and understanding more about the different forms of yoga and why yours is different from some other guests I've had, which is all good. And but finding the right place for me is important. Like, I want to go where I belong and what I need, and so this has really helped me to understand that I have choices, and I can come and get a taste of some things if I need that. Dip my toe in the water kind of thing too. So, well, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.